Hey, the LOWKEY GEEK podcast is back with a brand new name. Spider-Man No Way Home trailer blows up the internet. There are people out there who've watched Ghostbusters Afterlife, and I'm extremely jealous, and why you should never buy any Bob Ross product moving forward. Just some of the things we'll be talking about in this week's episode, so let's go! What's going on, guys? It's great to be back doing this podcast again. For those of you who are familiar with the channel already, you know I was doing the LOWKEY GEEK podcast for a good amount of time, probably since last year. Took a little break. Wanted to kind of reconfigure some stuff and restructure some things on the back end. Now I decided to come back, and now this is the brand new Talking Talk Podshowcast. So hopefully you guys will still be entertained and tune in. As always, the whole spiel, if you like what you see, the easiest way to show your appreciation and to provide some feedback is, leave some comments in the comment section, hit that like button. All that is for free. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel and you're new, welcome. Again, you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. For the audio listeners, this will be available wherever podcasts can be heard. Make sure to give a good rating and follow through whatever platform you decide to listen in on. Again, these are like the best ways to let these platforms know that you like what you hear, and maybe you want to hear more of this stuff, and it will definitely help out a bunch. But yeah, like I said, it's great to be finally back doing this, and I will be sure to make this a weekly thing. That is the current plan right now. But yeah, let's talk about some stuff. So Spider-Man No Way Home blew up the internet when it came out last week. It was released Monday night. Tons of speculation about when we were ever going to see this trailer. We haven't seen the trailer in a very long time. We haven't seen footage. We were teased somewhere, like I want to say like maybe in March or something like that, we were told the name of the movie. But we haven't seen any footage. There's been so many rumors back and forth about who's going to be in it. We all know that they are definitely exploring the multiverse here, as you have seen with all the events that's been happening on the Marvel TV shows and Disney Plus, like WandaVision and Loki. So for the longest time, we were wondering, when are we going to finally see a trailer? The movie's coming out in December, and it's not that far off, and usually we get some sort of teaser footage months in advance. So we finally got it, and it totally blew up the internet. I mean, it is insane the amount of views that this trailer got, really. I believe it beat the record. From what I can see, it beat the record for all-time views in a 24-hour period, which was previously held, I believe, by Avengers Endgame. I'm going to pull up some numbers for you to see right here. It was an interesting post I found on Twitter that helps break things down. So you could see like Avengers Endgame, within a 24-hour period, it had 289 million views. So Spider-Man No Way Home completely annihilated that record with 355 million views within a 24-hour period. And the one thing I would have to say is it is very interesting to know that they keep these type of metrics and they track these kinds of things. I don't know who the officiating body is that keeps these records, or how they really measure these views, because if you look at the Sony YouTube channel and you look at the amount of views on this particular trailer, it's around 50 million, right? If you go to the Marvel channel, it's like around, I want to say 20 to 30 million or what have you. I'll have some graphics on the screen to show you what the latest screen caps look like. So are they counting that in combination with the Twitter views and, Facebook views, Instagram views? Are they counting when it's, uploaded by other, channels like IGN or Fandango or whatever? It'll be interesting to find out how they actually measure all this stuff. But you have already tons of people with their speculations, and I guarantee you probably 50% of these views are coming from people who have rewatched it over and over again to see if they saw, I don't know, the leg of Lizard, or there was a lot of rumors going around that one of the arms that you see in the trailer is Charlie Cox's arm, saying, oh look, there's Daredevil, he's in it. I'll cover like some of the crazy rumors that has been or speculations that's been going on this week, but I want someone out there. I can't do it myself because I just don't have the patience for it. But if someone out there can please find out metrics of the amount of times a singular person rewatched the same trailer over and over again, and then I want to tie that back to if this same person is spreading all around all these speculations and rumors. It'll be really interesting to see what that metric is, because I was one of those guys who loved speculating, especially when WandaVision came out. It's fun, and I do it just, for laughs and, for shits and giggles. But if something doesn't come through, I don't get all burnt out of shape about it. I might have some criticism here and there, but I know there's a lot of people out there who are speculating left and right, and I know that the minute the movie comes out and none of these things come true, they're going to be completely upset and say like, oh, Sony and Marvel, you messed up. Why didn't you listen to me? And why didn't you follow my dreams and hopes and aspirations for this movie? Because it would have made it a better movie. Look, I trust they know what they're doing. They haven't really steered us wrong yet. But it's fun to see that the hype for this movie is so strong as it is. Spider-Man is probably globally the most well-known superhero out there. So again, no surprise to me that there's so many people who are really passionate about this movie and about this character. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, when it comes to speculations and rumors, people were saying they saw a glimpse of sand, so the Sandman is there, or they had some lightning, so of course the rumor is Electro's going to be in this movie. I mean, the one thing we know for sure is Alfred Molina is in this movie, and when Doc Ock showed up at the end of the trailer, that was phenomenal. That was so exciting, and my heart jumped, and I was just like, yes, this is actually happening. This is going to be great. And then there's speculation that maybe he's not talking to Tom Holland. Maybe he's talking to, the other Spider-Mans, whether it's Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or who knows. There are speculations that certain scenes look kind of barren, and maybe they kind of CG'd out some additional characters to kind of keep the mystique going. Marvel has been known to do that in their trailers, where they kind of manipulate it so that it has us thinking one thing, and then when we finally see the movie, it's completely something different. And then the craziest thing that I saw on Twitter this week was someone had a close-up screen grab of a reflection in the window of what Tom Holland was looking at, and you saw and I don't know if this is legit or not. I didn't spend the time to look at it myself because I just don't want to. But there was an outline of a figure, and everyone's speculating, that's proof, that's the Lizard. Or someone else was like, no, that's Venom. There's going to be a Venom crossover because, we got the new Venom 2 movie coming out this year too, and they're going to cross things up and all that. Just watch the movie, guys. Come on. Let's just all be in it together. Let's just watch the movie. Again, it is fun to speculate. And if they do pull it off where you have all the movie universes tying in together, whether it's the Tobey Maguire universe or the Andrew Garfield universe, or we get bits and pieces of that as we deal with the multiverse, I think it will be a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun movie, I think. I don't think any of us will be really disappointed about it. I have a gripe, though. I do have one gripe, and it feels to me, and this is just my own opinion, okay? Um, I feel like they're copping out a little bit with the storyline, and I feel like they're cheapening what has already been established in WandaVision, what they've already established in Loki. But in Spider-Man, it appears that the whole multiverse opening, or whatever explosion or initiation, however you want to call it, is caused because Peter Parker goes to Doctor Strange and he asked him if there is a way he can just let everyone in the world forget that he's Spider-Man. And Doctor Strange was like, sure, let's do that. And he does a spell, and Peter's going on and on and on. Again, this is all in the trailer. And something happens. Something breaks. The spell gets messed up. And then that's how the multiverse opens up. Now, maybe when you watch the movie, it will play out very differently. But I feel like that is cheap. Like, that, for me, kind of lessens the kind of blow that we've already experienced watching WandaVision and Loki. You know, maybe the events of Loki happened along the same time as the events in No Way Home. You know, and then maybe that's why that, by whatever Strange was doing and whatever Loki accomplished at the end of season 1, kind of butted heads and caused even more of a rift. I don't know. But personally, I think it would have been neat. Again, if this is not the case, then I'll be okay with it. I'll just watch what they give us. It would have been cool if, you know, yes, Peter Parker is kind of in hiding and he's kind of suffering with the blowback of the events of Far From Home, where everyone knows his identity now and all that. But then something along the way kind of like, you know, triggers him and says like, wait a minute, some things aren't right. Or Doctor Strange comes to him and said, we need to have a talk, you know, because there's something amiss. And maybe they already find themselves in a rift, in a time rift, or, you know, the J. Jonah Jameson that we see that is blowing up, you know, the internet and the media about Peter Parker's identity. Maybe he doesn't belong in that universe. You know, maybe somehow he popped out of nowhere. Who knows? You know, like I think it would have been kind of cool if they just found themselves in a predicament and something happened, and now it's up to Strange and Peter Parker to kind of find out what's happening and then try to find a way to kind of correct things, right? Or corral things, so to speak. But if it is what it is what it is, right? You know, and it's fine. I'll be fine with it. I'm just, my own personal thinking is just, come on. You know, would Doctor Strange really do that for Peter? You know, like knowing that this could possibly be a problem. You know, like is he, you know, in the right to kind of use this spell that would affect all of humanity's memories to kind of alter them? You know, it's not like in Men in Black where you have a device and you have a group of people in front of you, like boop, and then, you know, oh, they can't remember the last 10 minutes or what have you. You know, you're asking people to forget, like, globally, this big revelation, right? And I don't know, it just feels kind of funky. And of course, because of that, the other speculation that was going around was that, is this really the Doctor Strange that we know? You know, could Peter have gone and maybe the rift has already started and he's talking to a completely different Doctor Strange from another multiverse, from another universe, you know? Like, and again, I get a kick out of watching all these speculations. It's really funny. And let's see what happens, you know, and I'm sure we haven't heard the end of it yet. They're calling this a teaser trailer, so we're gonna get another full-blown trailer before the movie comes out. So let's see what else they will reveal to us. I hope they don't reveal too much, because again, it's been well documented that they've, you know, they tend to reveal a bit too much and all that kind of stuff like that. You know, we've heard the laughter of, you know, the Green Goblin. We don't know if that's William Dafoe. It sure sounds like it. Will we see him on the screen, or will we see another Spider-Man on the screen? I don't know, but you know, I'm sure, stay tuned. We are going to see another trailer, and let's see what else they reveal, you know. But let's be patient. Let's take it in how they give it to us, and let's just accept the fact that regardless, this is going to be a great movie, right? How great is it going to be, though? That's the next question. And I love playing this game about box office, right? Because, in case you've been living in Iraq, for the last year and a half, or you are from Mars and you just decide to come visit us on Earth, we are still in the middle of a pandemic, right? And so box office throughout the summer has been a lot of up and down, mostly down for the most part, especially now that we have the Delta variant causing ruckus out there. So be sure you guys are keeping safe out there. So it'll be interesting to see, with such a well-known character that tons and tons of people globally love, how is this gonna fare in the box office? Sony made it very adamant that they're not going to be doing a day and date stream with theater and streaming at the same time. I don't know if they're going to be adhering to the 45-day window that a lot of studios are now starting to adapt, when it comes to their new releases. But this, for now, is going to be strictly theater only, right? So let's take a look at some numbers. Let's look at some, current numbers that we have been seeing for the summer. But first, let's go back to the last Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, again, this is 2019. This is before the pandemic and all that. Domestically here in the U.S., opening weekend, it pulled in $92.5 million, which is phenomenal, right? The overall domestic box office came in at $390 million. Internationally, it made $740 million. So again, prove me wrong whether or not it's true that Spider-Man is globally well known and loved. So the overall worldwide box office is $1.1 billion, right? So tremendous numbers there. Now, fast forward to this recent summer that we are experiencing. Let's go back to the last Marvel movie that finally came out in the summer, and that was Black Widow. Again, this is still pandemic. This was also pre-Delta. This is before Delta has been causing, the huge mess that it's causing out there. So domestic opening, the opening weekend, it was $80 million, which for pandemic releases was huge. I believe it pretty much broke the record for the highest, grossing movie during a pandemic release, right? The overall domestic number came out to be around 181.5 million. Internationally, it did 188.4 million, rounding it out the total worldwide box office. And, it's still out there. So it's still, earning some money, but obviously not at the rate it was when it first came out. $369 million, almost 370, because it's 9 and change after that. So really decent numbers, right? Now let's look at the next leading box office from the summer, and that's F9, Fast and Furious 9. So Fast and Furious 9, again, this is pre-Delta. Opening weekend box office domestically was $70 million. The overall domestic was $172 million. International was $531 million. So worldwide overall $704 million. So really great numbers there. Then concerns of Delta started coming in, and a lot of the releases that would come out, weekend numbers dropped to 20 million, 15 million, 10 million. I believe Reminiscence opened up at $5 million or a little bit above that. The one exception to that rule was Free Guy, which was released in August. So already Delta concerns are running rampant and all that. But however, for the opening weekend, it was able to pull in $28.3 million. So the overall domestic box office so far is $79.3 million. Internationally, $100.3. So right now, it currently stands at $179.6 million, which is great for this type of movie, which doesn't tie to a huge IP like a Marvel character, DC character, Star Wars character, what have you, right? So those are the kind of numbers that we're seeing now. Now, keep in mind, this movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, gotta go home, can't stay here, whatever you want to call it. It's coming out in December. We don't know what's going to happen between now and then when it comes to Corona, COVID, Delta, and all that kind of stuff like that. So judging about, around these numbers, I do feel like the majority of the box office numbers will come from international audiences. So let's guess, where is this movie going to come in, right? Because again, I love playing this game. It's a lot of fun. Based on the numbers we saw with Black Widow, Fast 9, Free Guy, my guess, domestically, opening weekend for Spider-Man, and you can, we'll go back to this and see how far off I am. I think Spider-Man Far From Home in December, and again, this is also close to a holiday too. So maybe if things ease up, a lot of families will be comfortable in going out there and what have you. Black Widow also should be mentioned. Black Widow was available on Disney Plus for an additional $30. You could watch Disney Plus at home streaming at the same time it was released in theaters. Hence why Scarlett Johansson is fighting with Disney, because where's my money, right? And all the power to her. She deserves what she needs to get. This theater-only release exclusive, I think, domestically opening weekend, and this is just domestic, I think Spider-Man No Way Home is going to come in at $110 million. That is my guess. Let's see how far off I am. Now, if you combine domestic and international, I think Spider-Man No Way Home has the ability to pull in $300 million opening weekend. Call me crazy. Well, let's assume that it opens up at the same time globally, right? So, like I said, my prediction will be domestically, it will pull in 110 million opening weekend, add an additional probably 200 million, so roughly above 300 million opening weekend worldwide. And those are my predictions. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it comes true. Always a lot of fun. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, what your predictions are. Be interesting to see, if you think I'm crazy or not, because it wouldn't be the first time I heard that. But why did we get this trailer on Monday? So another thing that happened this past week, and it's one of those things where, being the huge movie fan that I am, I've always wished I can attend something like this. And it's CinemaCon. So for those of you who don't know what CinemaCon is a trade convention for theater owners. It's for, those, not only like the AMCs, the Regals, but also your mom and pop, theater owners and all that all across the country. And they have a 1-week convention in Las Vegas that happens every year. Last year they didn't have one because of COVID, but they had one late this year, and then they're gonna go back, I believe, to their regular schedule next year, which is sometime in April or what have you. But it's a chance for all the studios to promote all of their movies coming out for the year, because just like anything else, theater owners have to contract with these studios to carry their movies in their theaters, right? And of course, there's press and media there as well, and some critics or what have you attend too. So Sony's presentation was on Monday, and that's why everything kind of blew up. And the minute they showed the Spider-Man trailer, literally shortly after, that's when they finally released it online, and that's how things went crazy, But what was something that I really found very interesting was, everyone, and I mean everyone, was talking about the Spider-Man trailer, but nobody was talking about the fact that there were people there at the Sony presentation who had a chance to watch Ghostbusters Afterlife. And when I found that out, I lost my mind, and I got super jealous, super jealous. The way it played out, from what I hear, Ivan Reitman came up on stage in person, And he brought up his son, Jason Reitman, and they're talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife and what have you. And then basically, they were like, and I beg you guys to please not spoil anything about this movie, especially the ending, because we really want to surprise people out there. Because sit back and relax, Ghostbusters Afterlife. And they showed the entire movie to everyone and in attendance. And my God, I could only imagine what people were going through when they heard about that. And, Ghostbusters is a movie and franchise I hold very dear to my heart. Ever since I was a kid, I saw it in the movie theater. The original Ghostbusters, I saw it when it came out. 1984 in the movie theater. This shirt is a collaboration with Nas and the Ghostbusters franchise. History is the clothing line. 84 is on the back. 84 was a great year for movies, and it is the year that gave us Ghostbusters. And the early word is that it is a movie that does not disappoint. Which I find relieving, especially with the last Ghostbusters outing that we got, which is no fault to the actresses. I blame the writing and directing for creating a really poor production there. But what I hear is that there's enough nostalgia and throwbacks that keep the diehard fans like myself and like many of you out there very pleased and very satisfied. But they've added enough so that the newer generation can really appreciate it. And I believe that has a lot to do with the kids that they cast, That's why it kind of has like that Stranger Things vibe to it, So really good positive news coming out of that. Of course, nobody is spoiling anything, because they promised they weren't going to talk about it. Just had some like quick reactions, just like, oh my God, it's amazing. I had a lot of fun. It's a fun movie. The nostalgia part, the stuff for the new generation. So, everyone's doing their part not to spoil anything. And of course, I'm doing my part not to look at anything that could be spoiler filled. But I can't wait for this movie. It's going to be coming out, I believe, in November. So definitely looking forward to that. Some other things I heard coming out of CinemaCon was during the Paramount presentation, they got a good look at the opening of Top Gun 2, which, talk about nostalgia. I heard it's filled with nostalgia, when it, like, the soundtrack, the feel, just the crazy action that starts off from the very beginning. Obviously we saw it in the trailer. They do have a volleyball scene, which is great, and it's been confirmed. Two things have been confirmed, and again, this could be a spoiler if you don't want it, the movie to be ruined for you. But this was a lot of rumors and speculation going on, but it has been confirmed. One, Val Kilmer is in the movie, and he is like Maverick. He is way promoted, and I'm so happy for him for that. Especially after watching the Val documentary on Amazon. Really happy to hear that. And of course, it again ties things to the original movie. And it's been confirmed, and this was the biggest speculation of them all, at least in my eyes. Miles Teller, the character that he plays, is Goose's son. And I mean, he has the mustache. You see it in the trailer. He looks like a spitting image of his dad. So really happy to hear it. And I heard that there's this amazing one-on-one between Miles and Tom Cruise, Maverick, that really hits you in the feels, especially when it comes to his dad. So really, really good stuff. So I'm really excited about that. And then keeping on with the Tom Cruise train, Mission Impossible, the next one looks to be batshit crazy as far as stunts are concerned. And it seems like every movie they keep upping the ante when it comes to stunts, especially stunts involving Tom Cruise. Now, there was already released online this extreme in-depth training regimen that Tom Cruise went through, when for like a whole year he was learning how to ride a motorcycle, like off-road motocross style, jumping over hills and all that kind of stuff. And then just to film this one stunt where he apparently rides this bike over a mountain or a hill or what have you. It sounds like a mountain, over a giant mountain. Let's go, and then parachutes off the bike. And this is all Tom Cruise doing this, by the way. The guy is bananas, but you got to give him credit. He wants to keep things authentic, and he's willing to put his life on the line, praying to the scientist gods out there, whatever he believes in, that his life will be intact and kept safe. But he just keeps upping the ante. And then it was mentioned that this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the stunts in this movie, but just wait to see what they have planned for the movie even after that. The movie is not even out yet, and they already have plans for crazy stunts going on into the following Mission Impossible. So really excited to hear that. And then lastly, Dune seems to be the movie that a lot of people are really waiting for. All we hear are just good things coming out of Warner Brothers. Now they had their presentation at CinemaCon, and again, from what I've heard, what was shown, behind the scenes stuff, additional footage, it looks phenomenal. And I think a lot of people are really hankering and like waiting to see what's going to happen with this movie. Denis Villeneuve is already talking about how he has a trilogy in mind. It's already been reported that the sequel will heavily feature Zendaya in it. But the funny thing about Warner Brothers, I heard the Warner Brothers reception was a little bit mixed too, because if you follow movie news long enough, it was Warner Brothers who decided to do the whole theater and home streaming release on the same day at the same time, which kind of threw off a lot of the theater owners for a loop there. And it's obvious that it has been, it has affected box office results and numbers and what have you. Like I mentioned even earlier in the show, where Black Widow could have made a whole lot more money, right, if it was exclusive to theaters. Movies like anything that Warner Brothers put out there, they could have made a whole lot more money. In the Heights could have done a lot better. Suicide Squad, I believe pulled in like 35 million over the opening weekend, and then dropped to like 8 in just 1 week or something like that, because people had access to watch it at home. Space Jam 2, I don't know what the reception would have been like that in the theater, but like it has, the data suggests that releasing a movie in the theater and at home, for some, not all, is not the right way to go, right? And it's already been stated that starting in 2022, Warner Brothers, HBO Max, they're not going to be doing that same plan. Everything is going to be in theaters first, and I believe everyone is moving forward is going to follow the whole 45-day release window before it can be available on the streaming platforms. So I heard that the theater owner reception towards Warner Brothers when their presentation started was not so nice. So very interesting to hear about that. But yeah, so that's CinemaCon. So I'm hoping that, guys, if you help me and you help this channel grow and get, noticed out there, maybe in a year or two, I can attend CinemaCon too, and I could be reporting directly from there for you guys. So that would be a blast. So, like I said, subscribe, like, spread the word, follow, leave a good rating on the podcast platforms of your choice. All will be greatly appreciated there. So, now, again, those of you familiar with the channel and all that know I do reviews. I do their own separate videos and what have you. But there was this one thing that I saw this past week that I really wanted to talk about here, and that is the new Bob Ross documentary that released on Netflix. It's Bob Ross, Happy Accidents, Betrayal and Greed. I believe that is the full title of it. But it is prominently featured there on Netflix. I heard about this documentary about a month ago. And like many of us here in the US, and I know Joy of Painting was broadcast in international countries as well. I know it was huge in Japan and Mexico at one point. But we grew up watching Bob Ross on PBS. Usually it was either early in the morning or early in the afternoon, if I recall correctly. But it was in alignment with, your Sesame Street, your Electric Company, your Mr. Rogers, and what have you. But I watched Bob Ross since I was a kid, but it was one of those things where I would watch it in the background. It would be on. Because of his voice, it's so soothing, right? The way he talks to the audience, the way he describes what he's painting, and and he's a phenomenal painter. He paints these amazing landscapes in 30 minutes, and he teaches you that and gives you the confidence that you can do it too. Anyone can do it as long as they have the love and passion for it. But it's funny because for the longest time, we've known Bob Ross for what we saw on TV. The dude with the afro, the hippie-like guy who seems to be happy all the time, has a soothing voice, and can paint phenomenal paintings in a very short period of time. But not a lot of us knew about his background or what's going on behind the scenes. And what I really loved about this documentary, it finally gave us that glimpse of what he was like behind the scenes, or a little bit more background and history about it. And boy, when you look at the title of the documentary, you think, oh, is this a scandalous piece where it's like they're going to reveal some nasty stuff that Bob Ross has done in his life, where he, maybe he was a swinger, or, maybe he swindled people out of money and all that. But it's not even that. It's the people that he associated himself with that kind of done a lot of these crazy and bad things. And Bob himself, he was happy painting for people. He was happy teaching people. He had tons of workshops all across the country, that had his name, and it taught, painting classes to people like you and I. And you would learn how to paint the Bob Ross way, which again, you learned about his technique of painting, and how it was an old technique from way back in, early days of, when you go to the museum, you see a lot of these more biblical and paintings like from Italy and all that stuff like that. That is used. They painted that using the same techniques that Bob Ross used. So it's not even a new technique that he invented. It was an existing technique that he just kind of made it his own, which was very fascinating. You learn about his the people that inspired him, and the people he looked up to. You learn a lot about his son. His son is very prominent in the documentary, and the relationship that they had. If you remember, his son would be featured on the show too, and he's also a phenomenal painter. Bob Ross always wanted to pass along the business to his son and have his son take over the show and all that. But what you do learn, which is very eye-opening to me, was that as he was filming these shows, he was going through a lot of different stuff in his personal life, depending on what season of the show you were in. Bob Ross lost his wife at a certain time, and during that season of the period where he lost his wife, you could see he was a little bit melancholy. He was trying to deal with, the sadness and all that, and he was relying on the audience to, hang in there with him. And he, appreciated the audience. He appreciated all the letters. He addressed all the letters of well wishes from, the fans, and, he, it kept him going, and kept, his painting continues to make him happy, and entertaining the audience as well, kept him going. There was, and I'll get more in detail about this in a minute, when he was having business troubles with the people that he partnered with, how he was unhappy with how the business was being run. He would kind of, in the Bob Ross way, express his, unhappiness on the show, but because it's Bob Ross, as an audience, not knowing what's going on behind the scenes, we didn't really catch up on that. But there were certain things that he would say, certain things that he would hint on, that would express his, his unhappiness about all that stuff. And then later on in the series, he was battling cancer. and he filmed multiple seasons while he was fighting cancer. And they were saying that because of certain materials that he used during his painting, that could have led to him getting the type of cancer that he got. But the most disheartening thing you learn from this documentary is how this man's life, towards the end, while he was, resting in bed, dying from cancer, it became a huge legal battle that he had to deal with every day with the partners that he partnered with, who were controlling the Bob Ross Inc., the company, the corporation that ran the Bob Ross brand. And the battle primarily was over his name, and you see now tons of products with Bob Ross's name and picture on it. You have action figures, lunch boxes. There's a Twitch channel on Twitch that 24/7 airs the Bob Ross Joy of Painting show, all seasons, right? And it's run by the Bob Ross company. But none of the proceeds, none of the revenue, none of that is going to the family. His son is still alive. His son still paints, but he doesn't see one dime of that, and it was Bob Ross's well wishes that once he passed away, that the name would be entrusted to his brother, who's still around, and his son. However, since his son was young at the time, the son was only getting 49% of ownership, while the brother got, I believe, 51%. And guess what happened? His brother sold him out. The owners of the company, which is a husband and wife, kept harping and bothering the brother because they wanted to own the rights to the name. They wanted the name, and somehow they got him to sell off the rights, his rights to the name, which is the majority holding rights. And so now they own complete control of the Bob Ross name and anything associated with Bob Ross, and they are profiting from it. They still sell the paints, the brushes. Like I said, anything with the Bob Ross name is going to them. And it was everything that was going against Bob Ross's wishes at the end. The wife that he was married to at the time doesn't see a dime of it. His son doesn't see a dime of it. It sounds like the brother got a payout for those rights, and then that's it. So very, very disheartening stuff, and very, very interesting once you really see it fleshed out in front of you. And it's unfortunate that is the ending legacy of Bob Ross, where all he wanted to do was, do something that he enjoyed, and that was painting and entertaining people and bring people along on his journey and his love for painting, because that's really, really what he wanted to do. So, and again, and there were a lot of happy things too, and a lot of other interesting things that you learn. Like, for example, the reason why he speaks the way he speaks. It's so interesting how he invented ASMR. He was the original inventor of ASMR because he said he knows his audience. His audience is primarily female, and these are people who maybe sometimes are shy, and maybe they're not confident enough in themselves that they could paint. But he talks to them in this very intimate way, and this really pleasant way, so that he could feel more closely to the audience. And as you're doing your happy tree and this little happy bush here, and maybe this little cloud that pops up on the corner over there, I like clouds, and all that kind of stuff. He does that on purpose so that the audience can feel closer to him. It was like a form of intimacy. Just like you're flirting with a female, as he would tell people, like you want to make them feel comfortable and trust you. And it's so funny that was his main reason for talking the way he talks on his broadcast, So literally, this is a guy that invented ASMR. So all you ASMR people on your YouTubes and your Twitches, you all have Bob Ross to thank for that. And now it's this big thing that everyone is going crazy about, right? But it's so fascinating, and also very disheartening with what went down behind the scenes and what is still happening now. Because again, this couple is still alive. They're still controlling the corporation and the name, and they're profiting from all of it. And one thing that the documentary also states was that there's a bunch of other people who are close to Bob Ross who really wanted to talk about Bob Ross as a person and the struggles and challenges that he went through, but they didn't want to do it in the documentary because they were fearful for getting sued by these two people who runs the Bob Ross corporation. So it shows you that the type of fear that these two put into people who challenge their ownership of the Bob Ross name and all that. So I vow never to support the Bob Ross company anymore. I bought a Funko Pop, like in the last couple of years. I at times would watch the Twitch channel, and all that because, Joy of Painting is a fascinating show and it still holds up today. But no more. It's really unfair and unfortunate. And I don't know what's going to happen once, the owners pass away, who's going to take over and all that stuff like that. The son tried to fight them in court and lost terribly. So I highly recommend you check it out and you watch it, especially if you are like me and you grew up with him. You grew up with that program. You know about that program, and he was always one of those figures that I always wanted to learn more about, know more about his history, know more about his background, know what made him the way he is. And the documentary does a really good job at going into all that and diving into all that. So do check it out. It's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure it's going to be very popular for the next couple of weeks there. So before I wrap up the show for this week, guys, I have this new segment that I'd like to bring into the mix here. And I kind of, I'm a huge, if you couldn't tell from the crap behind me, I am a big collector. I don't collect as much as I used to in past years and all that. But, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who love collectibles, whether they're Funko Pops or comic books or action figures or what have you. So I'm going to highlight and feature a collectible of the week. And this week, it is going to be this newly announced Nerf Aliens gun, which is, if you're a fan of the Alien franchise, especially the second one, Aliens, the James Cameron movie there, you were introduced to the Colonel Marines, with Ripley, Hicks, and all that kind of stuff like that. And what was really made popular in that movie was the weaponry, right? So you have the M41A gun that is very prominent throughout the movie. So in honor of, I believe it's because they're doing this to kind of honor the anniversary of Aliens, they teamed up with 20th Century Studios, and they are producing this Nerf limited Aliens M41A blaster gun. And I think it is phenomenal. It's fantastic. I love the packaging in it. It's a fun piece to have on your wall or to play around with and all that. And it is available for pre-order on the Hasbro Pulse website. And if you're not familiar with Hasbro Pulse, they've been doing a really good job at producing a lot of unique and limited edition products, whether it's Marvel action figures, Transformer figures, they team up with a lot of different properties and all that, a lot of exclusives, great Star Wars stuff. So they're coming out with a lot of these interesting products for properties under these IPs, and some of them are very limited. You can only get from HasbroPulse.com, and the quality is also have been upped a notch. So, they still produce toys that you could buy at your Target. Toys R Us is now coming back under Macy's here in the United States, but Toys R Us still exists in Canada and other countries. So you could buy Hasbro products in those locations, Walmarts and have you. But the stuff that they offer on this website is higher quality, and it's like really more details in the production and what have you. So I wanted to highlight this because, again, this is like a very unique item, and as if you're a fan of Aliens like I am, I was floored when I saw this. And I don't own a Nerf gun, but this might be the only Nerf gun I would ever want to own, if I'm to be completely honest. But yes, it's being produced to celebrate the 35th anniversary of Aliens, the movie Aliens. Can you believe it's been 35 years already? Jeez. Stay tuned to the channel, because what I'm gonna start doing is that for big anniversary films, I'm gonna do probably watch-alongs there to kind of relive the moments from the movies, especially because some of these movies I haven't seen in a very long time, and Aliens, I would love to do a rewatch of that. So if you're interested in picking one of these up, I will leave a link in the description of the video and of the podcast, so do check it out. Again, I am not getting paid for this. It's not an affiliate link. I'm just trying to spread the love here. But even if it was affiliated, I hope you would still click on that link and show your support. So that's about it, guys. I'm going to wrap things up now for this week. The next episode that will air will more than likely be during a time when I am going off on a little vacation to kind of close out the summer this year. Options are very limited, obviously, because of Delta, but I have this nice little getaway plan for myself. So it's going to be, obviously this is pre-recorded too, but it's going to be a little bit, it may not cover the news that breaks out during the week, but regardless, I'm still going to have something interesting to talk about. So again, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you are interested in what else I have to offer, do check out the YouTube channel at LOWKEY GEEK. And as always, don't forget to show your support for as little as $0. You could just show your support by hitting that like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Spread the word, and on your podcast platform of choice, be sure to follow, leave a good rating, and download the episodes, because again, that's going to help out a lot in the long run, and it will help out in letting the platforms know that you're interested in programs like mine. So until next time, guys, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe, and I will catch you in the next episode. Peace.